Hey, hello to the very last Wednesday night of April. Boy, oh boy, hasn't this month passed by so quickly. And just to think, on this weekend, we begin into May. And right now, outside, it feels very much like winter. I've had a chill most of the day for having gone outside to the gym and had a workout. And when I came back, the weather had totally changed from nice temperature to temperature having dropped about 10 degrees. It's really cold. So that's just all for today, but that's not why we come to the Golden Nuggets Q&A. And I had a question this week, and the question was really, it popped out at me. It says, what is the value of just buying books? Interesting question. And so I want to talk about that. I love books. These are some of the books that I read frequently. And one thing I've discovered is there are books that I love to read that just infuriate me when I can't find them. And then I realized that I was telling somebody about a book. For example, I was looking for Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Schmaltz. And I just mentioned the book to a friend of mine maybe 3 months ago. And he said, oh, can I borrow that from you? Now, I know that these good books, once they are loaned out, you never see them again. So you end up going to buy another book yourself. Same thing happened to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I must have bought over 100 books in my lifetime. But here's the thing about books and bookstores. See, I can go to a bookstore and I just get like a dopamine rush for just walking in. I just feel good for being in amongst the books. Now, if I buy a book, that dopamine rush hits me again, and I just feel so good for having bought the book. Now, a lot of people, that's where the dopamine rushing kind of ends, because they get the book home, they say, oh, I'll put that down over here, I'll get back to it and read it later, and they discover there's a pile of books that have never been read that they are archiving now. And there's actually scientific journals about articles where a group of graduate students sent a fake article to professors, and they have a title and they have an abstract about what the article says. And then they come back to those professors, university teachers, academics, lab, people running labs, whatever. And they say, we sent you this article on such and such a date. Did you read it? And what were your thoughts? Everybody's thoughts are the abstract. It's like they went and dug up the article, they reread the abstract, and then they write something in regards to the abstract. But there is nothing in the actual article itself that refers back to the abstract. And sometimes it's actual full paragraphs of nonsense, which tells you they never read it. But the very fact of taking the article, looking at the title, looking at the abstract, and then archiving it for later reading is equivalent to as if they had read the book. So most people, when they go out and they buy books, they get that dopamine rush the second time and they feel really good. But you know what else? You can get another dopamine rush by actually picking up the book and reading it. Now, for most people, reading the book is educational. They will get some interesting ideas, some interesting points, but that's as far as it goes. There's another dopamine rush waiting for them, and that dopamine rush comes from when you take that knowledge from the book and you apply it to your life. And as you apply it to your life, you begin to see the changes, the results that come from reading, another dopamine rush. And then eventually, once you begin to achieving your goals because of what you've read in that book, you get another dopamine rush, just like I am now, telling people about what you learned. and how you've improved your life and how they can take that same information and improve their life. Now, here's a book that I love. It's called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's by T. Harv Eker. Anybody know how T. Harv Eker got the name T? I'll tell you. He was an absolute failure in his life. And he decided that he needed to make a change in his life. And so Harv Eker became T, standing for the. He was suicidal at the time, and he realized there was only one of him that would ever be born, ever. And so he was the Harv Eker, and he turned his life around. Reading this book gives you tons of ideas about what one needs to do in order to achieve the thinking that a millionaire has to transpire their mind towards in order to win. Now, here's another great book I enjoy. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Amazing book. This book, whenever I feel discouraged, I pick it up and I find that just reading a few pages from the book is amazing in transforming my thinking at the moment. Here's another great one. Working with the law. There are eternal laws. These laws were established long before this earth ever came into being. They are spiritual, and they are physical, and they are practical. And in this book, 11 of such laws are identified. Now, the law of attraction is one of these books, or one of these laws. And I've written a book on the law of attraction. So, read my book if you really want to focus on the law of attraction, because I have the exercises in there. And that's what happens. People buy my book and they get a dopamine rush from buying it. And then they read the book and they get some education, some new ideas, and they get a dopamine rush from that. But it's the ones who actually work the book that get hit with dopamine rush after dopamine rush, because they can see the changes in their life. So yeah, here's another book. Now, I've got two more. One is I write a journal about gratitude every day, and I end the day with gratitude. And here's another one. This is a journal, and it's a journal about me. I write everything about me in the first person in this book. It's my thoughts, it's my dreams, it's my desires, it's my failures, it's my lack of accomplishments. But what happens when I have those lacks, I turn them into abundance. And that is what I'm writing in the first person. So if I feel like I lack finances, financial wellness, I begin to write in the first person about my financial wellness. Now, some people may sit down and say, well, that's just total fantasy. That's just like, you don't have anything there. Yeah, at the time, I didn't have anything there. Now there's something there. I remember in the beginning when I first started writing, I had no money in my bank account. What went in, went out, and usually I spent more than what went out. But when I started writing and started talking about how things are in the first person, in my mind, the way that I was seeing the world, slowly things started happening. I put in there that I was saving 25% of my income every month. In the beginning, that was total fantasy. That was just fantasy, but I wanted it to be true. Guess how much I'm saving every month now? It's more than 25%. So I now have a nest egg building up for my next investment, moving things forward, doing what I have to do in order to gain the success I want. And although that progress may appear to others as slow, it's still progress. It's my progress. And I get a dopamine rush out of it. I feel so good. Whenever I sit down and I say, I'm reading a book this week, which I will finish by the weekend. Now I'm reading those books. I complete them in a week's time. And in my journal, I actually write down 3 salient ideas that I got from the book and what exercises I've accomplished and how do I feel or think about them now as a person who has lived it for the last year, even though I just got started. But as I do that, my mind becomes attracted to a future experience and I start to feel that dopamine rush. But what's the best parts is I can get my journals from the last couple of years that I become an entrepreneur, and I can go back to the very beginning where I didn't know what I was doing. I was floundering. I felt lost. I felt like, was I making a mistake here? And now I can go back to those pages and I can almost laugh at myself, realizing how much I've grown and changed and prospered and developed into the person I was always meant to be. So when you ask me, what's the benefit of getting a book? You get a dopamine rush, it's an immediate benefit. But the benefits of not only walking into a bookstore, of purchasing a book, then actually reading the book, and then applying the knowledge, doing the exercises, learning from the exercises, changing your life in the proper direction so that you can open yourself up to the blessings of the universe. You're a fool if you don't do it. That's all I can say. And that's why successful people say leaders are readers. Catch you next week. Bye.